In this video, we're going over the new #1 best settings to use here in Black Ops 6 Season 2 Reloaded. It's time for our bi-weekly checkup. So if you're trying to drastically improve your aim, accuracy, as well as gun skill, you came to the right place. Let's get into it. As you can see, I play with an Xbox Elite controller on PC with one paddle, the short paddle on the back, set up for jumping. But these settings are gonna work no matter what controller you are using, and also no matter what console or PC you are playing on. For the button layout, tactical is gonna be the absolute best, remapping your crouch and prone button, so it's gonna be a lot easier for you to perform a drop shot, get in and out of cover a lot faster, and overall make you a lot more deadly at those close and medium ranges. I highly recommend going ahead and running this button layout even if you have a controller with paddles on the back, because you can just crouch down, go to prone by pressing down on the right thumbstick, and still maintain your aim and accuracy, making drop shotting a lot easier. Now, everything else here is going to be the same, but for your horizontal and vertical stick sensitivity, it is very important that you're playing within that 4 to 6/7 sensitivity window. Now, that's going to be the 1.2 to 1.6 range here, because they did make adjustments for the sensitivity values. It's not the standard numbers like we saw in the previous Call of Duties. I don't know why they went ahead and made the change. I believe it's for additional fine tuning, but just so if you are unaware, if you want to play on a 4 sensitivity, you're gonna have to play on a 1.2, and if you want to play on a 6/7, you're gonna have to play on a 1.6. This is gonna be perfect, allowing you to still turn on other players and have plenty of mobility, but your long range shot is going to be a lot more accurate. That's exactly why I play on a 1.6, because it is fast enough but not too fast where things are getting out of control. Everything else here is going to be the same. I've not made any other adjustments. I have shut off my controller vibration. The reason I go ahead and turn vibration off is I want to have as little play with my controller as possible, especially if I'm trying to take people out at those longer ranges. If you are struggling with long range gunfight, turn off your vibration. It's going to be a setting that you're going to either turn off and never turn back on, or turn it off and maybe you like the real world effect of the controller vibrating when you get shot or explosives go off around you. I've shut off vibration since Call of Duty World at War years ago, and I've never enabled it since. Now, I'm going to go ahead and showcase my dead zones right now, but keep in mind, dead zones are going to be specific to your own controller and your controller health. So if you want to copy my dead zone settings, go ahead and do so. But again, if your controller is brand new, you might not want to run my settings, or if you have a lot more stick drift, you might have to go ahead and fine tune that yourself. Now, under the aiming tab, there are going to be a couple of settings and values you must change. For your sensitivity multiplier, you want to go down to your ADS multiplier as well as focusing, and reduce this from 1 to 0.7. This is going to allow you to have less stick play with your controller at longer ranges, so you can be more accurate a lot easier, especially if you're running a weapon that has a lot of recoil. This is going to be a perfect setting to run if you have trouble taking people out at longer ranges, because anybody can take somebody out at close range. It's long range where I feel players are going to be falling short. Now, under your aiming advanced setting, what you want to do here is make sure that you have actually switched your ADS sensitivity transition timing to instant. If you do not go ahead and put this on instant, you are going to have a delay, and this is going to be incredibly irritating, and you're going to be losing a lot of gunfights at close, medium, as well as longer ranges. So make sure you go ahead and adjust this before you get into your next game. Now, what you also want to go ahead and do under this tab is you want to make sure that your aim assist response curve type is going to be on standard. Now, standard is going to be the best if you are trying to keep everything streamlined and as easy to follow as possible. At a moment's notice, they can go ahead and make adjustments within the aim assist settings here in Black Ops 6. They've done that in Modern Warfare 3. They did that before the game even released. It's just going to be a safety measure to keep this on standard, so if there are any adjustments made, you're good to go, and you're not going to wake up one day and having to learn how to re-aim and actually properly abuse the aim assist, because we had to do that in Modern Warfare 3 and at the beginning of Black Ops 6, and it is incredibly frustrating to go ahead and get done. That's exactly why I recommend playing on standard. Now, everything else here is going to be the same. I've not made any other adjustments. For the target aim assist, obviously this is going to be set to on. For motion sensor behavior, this is going to be off. In your motion sensor advanced settings, these are going to be what they are by default. Now we're going to go over to movement. I have my sprint assist, tactical sprint assist is going to be turned on, and you want to go ahead and have your sprint assist delay set to 0. So there's going to be 0 delay. You want to make sure this is on 0, otherwise there will be a delay, and it is incredibly annoying to deal with. You can see here the mantle assist, I have this turned off because I do not want to accidentally perform any type of maneuver when I don't want to, because in a gunfight, if you try to jump shot or if you're trying to strafe, you can accidentally mantle over the box or cover, automatically lose it. That's exactly why I have this turned off. Crouch assist is also turned off, and I also have corner slice turned off as well, and my slide dive behavior is going to be on hybrid. The reason I go ahead and have this on hybrid is because with the Omni movement, you can accidentally dolphin dive, you can accidentally slide when you don't want to, and if that does happen, 9 times out of 10, you are going to lose the gunfight. That's exactly why I go ahead and put this on hybrid, so I am in control of my player, and I'm going to be directing him what to do. I don't want something to accidentally happen and lose a streak like on a 25 or a 29, so definitely do not go ahead and have this on anything other than hybrid. Everything else here is going to be the same. I've not made any other adjustments. Now for combat settings, everything here also is going to be the same. The only thing that I went ahead and adjusted is I have my C4 detonation. This is going to be set to 1 by 1. The reason I go ahead and have this at 1 by 1 is so I can detonate the C4s when I want to detonate the C4s. I don't have to throw both of them down at the same time. But again, everything else here is going to be the same. I've not made any other adjustments under the combat settings or controller. Now for the graphic settings, these are very important. These are settings that you're going to change and see an immediate improvement in your next game. Pay attention. Now, motion reduction preset turned off. Arachnophobia mode, if that bothers you, keep it on. I have it turned off. Now your field of view, I always recommend playing on that 100 to 120 FOV range. This is going to be perfect, allowing you to see a bigger picture. And when you go ahead and couple this with the ADS field of view, this is going to mirror your FOV 100 or 120 with whatever optic or iron sight you're running, which is going to allow you to have less visual recoil. If you're ever wondering how people can control the recoil of some higher recoil weapons at longer ranges, it's because they are playing on a higher FOV with affected turned on. This is going to be a perfect setting if you are struggling with long range gunfights. I highly recommend going ahead and making this change right now. Everything else is going to be the same. My weapon field of view is going to be set to default. Third person field of view doesn't really matter. Vehicle field of view is also going to be set to default, but I do recommend going ahead and adjusting your world motion blur. Turn this to off. Your weapon motion blur, turn this to off. And your first person camera movement, I recommend having this at 50% because it's going to have less screen shake if a grenade or some type of explosion goes off around you, because we know here in Black Ops 6 that happens all the time. So make sure you guys have this at 50. You're going to see a drastic improvement, trust me, when you go ahead and make this setting. But everything else here is going to be the same, except that I do have inverted flashbang turned on, so the game is going to be less irritating when I do get flashbang. This is going to be a personal preference setting, but I'm telling you guys this right now, once you get flashbang and enable this, it's going to be a lot less annoying. But these are going to be the best settings to change under graphics. Everything else is going to be pretty much dependent on your own computer specs and also, whatever console you're playing on. So these are what you want to make adjustments to right now. Now, for the audio settings, they don't call me ears for nothing. There are some values you need to adjust. For your master game volume, I have this set to 100, but I have went ahead and reduced the gameplay music volume down to 30. It's just incredibly loud. It sounds good, but it can be overpowering. Now, everything else here is going to be the same, but I do go ahead and play on the audio mix set to headphones based boost. This is going to allow you to hear more footsteps and gunfire a hell of a lot easier, so you can pinpoint where people are at on the map without the use of a UAV. This is really important if you have a headset that you've bought within the last 5-7 years. I have Astro A40 TR headsets, that I went ahead and bought back in Call of Duty Infinite Warfare years ago, and they are still working perfectly fine. So I highly recommend going ahead and changing to this audio mix. You're going to love it. Everything else here is going to be the same. I've not made any other adjustments under the audio settings, except that my microphone mode is going to be set to push to talk for obvious reasons. It'd be incredibly irritating if I was in a lobby making a video and annoying everybody at the same time. So that's exactly why I push to talk enabled, but everything else here is going to be the same. And finally, for the interface settings, the only setting you need to adjust is go over to your gameplay HUD and make sure that your mini-map shape is set to square. Do not play with round enabled. I know this is going to be a setting that's default on the game. It might seem like it's a good option. Square is actually going to give you a bigger picture and make it a lot easier to read and interpret the mini-map in multiplayer as well as Warzone. Definitely a setting I recommend switching to. It's going to make everything 10 times easier once a UAV is popped, as well as an advanced UAV is popped, or just determining where your teammates are to adjust traffic patterns to make sure that you are actually rotating properly. If you do want a video where I go over how to read and interpret the mini map and figure out what people are going to be spawning at and traffic patterns without the use of a UAV or an advanced UAV, let me know down in the comment section. I think I can go ahead and get that done for you. These are going to be the absolute best settings to run here in Black Ops 6 as of right now. Remember, if you're trying to drastically improve your aim, accuracy, as well as gun skill, make sure you are playing on that 1.2 to 1.6 sensitivity range. And you also want to make sure that you have your view settings set up properly. The 120 FOV with the affected ADS field of view. You're going to see a significant improvement to your gameplay immediately. If this video does help you out, feel free, drop a like on the vid, subscribe to the channel, turn on those post notifications. It's been your boy Ears. I'm gonna catch you guys in the next one. Deuces.